welcome to another edition of the More Than Able podcast. My name is Margie, and I am here today with Sierra, who works for the Hydrocephalus Association. Hi, Sierra.
Hi, Margie. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. So, you kind of have a unique like connection to this because you have hydrocephalus yourself, right?
I do. I was born with hydrocephalus, so it's considered congenital hydrocephalus.
Wow. And then did I also do I also understand that you have spina bifida as well?
I do, yes. That is what caused my hydrocephalus was the spina bifida.
Oh, wow. So how does that affect your daily life?
Well, that's quite the question. It affects me in a lot of different ways. The spina bifida affects me with my mobility. So I wear what are called OFOs, or leg braces to help me walk and move around. I also use a wheelchair for distances. Um, as for my hydrocephalus, though, I deal with headaches quite frequently. I wouldn't say daily, but frequently. I've also developed migraines in the last couple of years. Um, I also deal with a lot of memory issues. So I write things down constantly to help me remember what I'm supposed to do for the day or tasks that I need to complete because I deal with those cognitive challenges due to my hydrocephalus.
Wow. So have you had headaches pretty much all your life or
Yes, so I have dealt with headaches since I was little, mostly with weather changes. I deal with barometric pressure changes and headaches, which is not uncommon for those in the hydrocephalus community.
right?
But
Yeah.
they did continue to get worse as I got older with barometric pressure changes. And like I said, in the last couple of years, I developed migraines. For me, when headaches get concerning is when they're like every day and nothing helps them, right? Like I'm taking over-the-counter medications and they're still there. And then that's kind of when we need to be in touch with my neurosurgeon and say, like, hey, we're kind of concerned that something's maybe not right here.
Yeah, I totally get that. So, talk a little bit about what you do for the Hydrocephalus Association because I think that's really cool that you have this job and you also have hydrocephalus and spina bifida. I mean, that just blows me away that you have this opportunity to work for a organization that you live with every day.
Yes, it's a huge blessing to get to work for the Hydrocephalus Association. My story with them starts about 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago. I was going through some personal struggles with my hydrocephalus after brain surgery. I personally have had 20 brain surgeries, and I was struggling with some post-operative challenges after one and was in need of support myself. And that's when I came across the Hydrocephalus Association. I was in my 20s when I found out they even existed at all. And there was no chapter in my area. There was no support group in my area. So with the support of my parents, I started the Eastern PA Community Network support group for the Hydrocephalus Association and have been volunteering with them still to this day for the last 8 or 9 years. And that has been the biggest blessing in my life. And about a year ago, I started working with them um, in a professional manner as the support and education assistant with the support and education team at the Hydrocephalus Association.
Wow. So, as an assistant, like, what do you do?
Great question. So I help with a lot of the day-to-day management of the support and education programs. So I help our support programs manager oversee our community networks throughout the country, throughout the US, and answer any questions that our volunteers have. I also will interact with the community of people who email or call us to ask questions, from those who are newly diagnosed to those who maybe haven't had an issue in a while and are having some challenges come up and just have some questions about whatever they may be dealing with, regarding their hydrocephalus. And then on
Wow.
the education side, I help monitor our educational programs and help with our scholarship programs and our physicians directory and all of our educational programs that we offer.
Wow, that's amazing. So, how has your family supported you through all this, like through your diagnosis and wanting to work for the Hydrocephalus Association?
Yeah, they've been instrumental in supporting me along the way in my journey. I am the oldest of four, so I have three younger siblings, and they've been my biggest supporters along with my parents to guide me in the right directions and cheer me along the way in every decision that I make.
Wow, that's so awesome. So, have you participated in the walks and all the events and stuff?
So I have participated in one walk when I first started volunteering. Unfortunately, the weekend that the Central PA walk is, which is the closest walk to me, has always been on a weekend that my family has been busy. And so it's been hard to get down there, but I'm really excited to be attending the National Capital Walk this year in DC in October. So I'm really excited about that.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah,
So,
I'm really excited.
wow, that is so amazing. So, I kind of want to get a little personal here. I may or may not have kind of looked you up on social media, and I saw that we have a lot of the same music genre favorites, like
Oh, really?
yeah, like pop and country. And I saw you went to a Big Time Rush concert, and I went to one as well.
You did?
Yeah, so who's your favorite member?
Oh, that's such a hard question, but I feel like I've always been a Logan girl.
Oh, yeah, Logan's so sweet.
What about you? Who is your favorite?
So it was Kendall for a long time, but now I feel like Logan has kind of taken a piece of my heart, if you will, too.
I love that, a fellow Logan
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah. Well, and our birthdays are 3 days apart. He's the 14th of September, and I'm the 17th of September. So,
Oh my goodness, well, happy belated birthday.
well, thank you very much. And then now this one I'm kind of jealous about because I love him, but you met Thomas Rhett.
I did. It was the coolest experience to get to meet Thomas Rhett this past summer.
Oh my gosh. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, it was actually pretty crazy. My dad had found out about I didn't even know he was, doing a meet and greet in the area. My dad had found out about it and let me know what was happening, and, um, Thomas Rhett has, alcohol, that he created with his cousin, and so you had to buy a bottle of this alcohol to meet him at the store.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did, we got in line at, like, 7 in the morning. He wasn't doing the meet and greet until noon.
Wow.
Um, and so we waited all morning in this big long line. There was probably like 100 people in line to meet him. And it was so sad to see people coming super late thinking they could buy a bottle in line at like 11 and getting turned away. I was so sad for them.
Oh.
Um, but yeah, it was a crazy day. It was so hot. We were all so sweaty. I was like, "Oh, I'm so stinky and I'm gonna meet Thomas Rhett." But he was the sweetest, and I was using my wheelchair that day because it was a lot of waiting around, and I knew I was gonna get tired, and he came down on my level and was just really sweet.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you must have felt like a princess.
I did, Margie. I was just floating on air the rest of the day.
Oh my gosh, I would have too. And then did I also see that you've recently saw Scotty McCreery?
Yes, my best friend Caitlin and I got to see him in Lancaster, PA, um, in April, I believe it was, and we got to meet him.
Oh my gosh, and how was that?
Oh, he is the sweetest guy ever. The
Oh,
sweetest.
oh good. So going back to your friends, so what was it like for you growing up, like making friends and everything? Because I know for me personally, it was a little bit difficult at first.
Yeah, I would say it was the same for me too, Margie. I had a really close core group of friends. I went to a really small high school. Um, School in general, my graduating class was about 100 people. So it was really small and we all kind of knew each other pretty well. But I would say maintaining friendships was hard, especially when I would miss time for brain surgery, right?
Right.
Um my friends would move on with their lives for that week or so that I was out of school and I would miss stuff. And then I felt behind in those friendships that had continued to grow and move on while I was recovering from surgery. So that was hard growing up. I still talk to quite a few of them now from high school. Um, but I also have different friends from different stages of my life too, um, beyond beyond school. Um, I would say some of my best friends currently are the people that also have the same diagnoses that I do. So people with spina bifida and people with hydrocephalus, because we can understand each other on a level that's just different from those that don't have these conditions.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I, having hydrocephalus myself, I would love to be your friend. I mean, even though we're in different states, I mean, even just like I said, looking at your social media pages, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl and I could be like best friends.
Oh, I think we definitely could be, Margie. I can see it.
So, I mean, this may get a little personal, but are you dating anybody? Have you dated in the past? Do you want to date?
That's a great question. I have struggled a lot with my romantic relationships. I have not dated in the past, and I'm not currently dating anybody. Um, that's not to say I'm not looking to date. I would love to explore that side of life. It just hasn't been in the cards for me yet, but I hope to in the future.
That is so awesome. So, as you know, today is National or World Hydrocephalus Day, which I think, as a community, at least I know, I've been waiting for a day like this for like ever, and now we have it.
Yes.
So, what do you want people or families who have someone with hydrocephalus? Um, to know about it, or even spina bifida as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say to those families that have somebody with hydrocephalus that there are no limitations. Um, you know, just because we have hydrocephalus doesn't mean that we can't do something. My parents always had the mentality that I should try things before I say I can't. That I'm gonna make mistakes and be like anybody else in life. My hydrocephalus doesn't make me different than others, um, except for the fact that I have a device in my body to keep me alive, right?
Right.
That people should live life and live life to the fullest and follow their dreams. Um, and don't let hydrocephalus get in their way.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what is a typical day in the life for Sierra?
A typical day in the life for me. Well, it depends on the day. So like today I'm working, so I get up and I spend some time with family and we have little chihuahuas. I'm sure you've seen them on my Instagram.
Oh, yes. What are their
Uh
names again?
so Fudge is our all white chihuahua, and then we have Penguin, who I'm sure
Oh,
you've she's a brown and white chihuahua.
oh,
Jack
cute.
Russell. Yeah. So I typically will spend a little time with them outside in the mornings, and then I get ready for work. And then throughout the day, it depends on the day what I'm doing, but when I get off of work, I also like to just spend a little time outside, kind of decompressing from the day, and spending time in nature is really important to me. And then I usually like to spend my evenings crocheting and watching TV before heading to bed.
Nice. What is your go-to TV show right now?
Right now, well, it just ended a couple of weeks ago, but I'm a big fan of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette.
Oh, me too. Are you planning on watching The Golden Bachelor?
I am. It starts later this month, right?
Yeah, it does. And it's going to be on a new night too, which I was kind of shocked about.
It's throwing me off a little bit.
I know, me too. I was like, wait, it's supposed to be on Monday nights. Why is it on a different night? Like, this is not okay.
It's it's not. I think is it Thursday nights now?
Yes.
Oh, that's gonna take my brain a second to process and get used to.
Oh, I, oh, I know. It's like, what are we gonna do? We'll have to find other shows to watch.
Oh, I know. Another show, and I'm hoping it'll come back soon, is Grey's Anatomy. I absolutely love Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, that's a good one. I was really excited when they introduced quote unquote hydrocephalus into the series with Meredith's daughter, Meredith and Derek's daughter, because I mean, you know it and I know it. The hydrocephalus community, we don't get as much recognition as any other community. So,
Yes, I would love to see more shows incorporate hydrocephalus stories into their storylines. It was great to hear Grey's Anatomy do that. I wish that they would do more to incorporate their, that daughter into the storylines a little bit more. But
mm-hmm,
I mean, just to have the word put out there, right? And I know different shows have talked about normal pressure hydrocephalus and in our elderly population, and
mm-hmm.
uh, hydrocephalus has come up in a couple of different shows here and there, but we definitely need more recognition. I agree.
Yeah. And I mean, not to put this back on me, but that's why I wanted to do partially why I wanted to do this podcast was to put hydrocephalus out there so people can understand that it's just as real of a unique difference, as I like to phrase it, as autism or cerebral palsy or spina bifida or Down syndrome or any of the other ones, because we're, I mean, we're human, but we also have this condition that we live with day to day, and unfortunately are going to live day to day until, or for the rest of our lives. So,
Yeah, you make a great point there, Margie, that we will live this with this for the rest of our lives, right? There is no cure for hydrocephalus. There's only treatment, and our only treatment option is brain surgery.
right. And I've heard like people like say for Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, like, no more brain surgery, no more brain surgery. And it's like it's a real thing.
It is. It's the reality in our lives that brain surgery is our only option, and we never know when our next brain surgery may be.
Right. I mean, it could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years, it could be 10 years, it could be whenever. I mean, it pretty much is on its own time clock.
You're right, it is, and we unfortunately don't get to know that time clock, right? We
Right.
never know when our shunt is going to stop working.
Yeah, I mean, we can anticipate it, but at the same time, it's like we don't want to anticipate it too much where it's like all of a sudden it just happens. And we're like, oh boy, okay, it's here. Like, gotta go to the hospital, gotta do the surgery and everything.
Yep. I try not to let the thought of like when is the next brain surgery going to be interfere with my life too much. It is always on the back of in the back of my mind that the next brain surgery could be right around the corner. But I
Right.
try not to let it interfere too much in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. And I mean, that's all we can do. Like, we can just go on with our lives and work and spend time with our families and our friends and just live life the best we can.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what, like, how has hydrocephalus inspired you to be more independent and spina bifida?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say that my challenges with both of these conditions have inspired me to push beyond what I would think is possible and reach outside of the box to do tasks that some would deem impossible, um, and find ways to adapt in situations that become challenging.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing. And how does it affect your work, if you don't mind me asking?
No, that's a great question. So I would say with work, the biggest thing is my memory. I know I talked a little bit earlier about how I write everything down.
Right.
So when I have things to do that involve a step-by-step process, I need to write all of the steps down and refer to those steps frequently to make sure that I'm doing them correctly. I also keep sticky notes everywhere. If you could see my desk right now, it is just full of sticky notes of things that I need to remember to do or tasks that need to be completed on a different day that I don't want to forget about. I also keep checklists. So I have a checklist for every day, and I write down for that day what needs to get done and make sure to check it off when the task is done. So yeah, memory is my biggest challenge when it comes to work. But I found ways to adapt and work around my memory struggles to make sure that I am working the most efficiently I can.
Wow, that's so awesome. And forgive me if we've already touched on this, but how is it working with your coworkers and knowing that you have hydrocephalus and spina bifida?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am very, very, very fortunate to be working for the Hydrocephalus Association where they understand the challenges that can come with hydrocephalus. And all of my coworkers are so understanding when I'm having a bad day and need to maybe take a little time for myself, to step away and take care of me. That it's such a blessing to know that they understand.
Wow, that's awesome. So when you first started, did you have to have like a job coach or any type of training or
So I did not need to have a job coach. I worked really closely with the support programs manager, Lakeisha Harris, and our education manager, Jen Bouchard, who walked me through all of the steps of the tasks that I would need to do as part of my job, and knew that I could always lean on them if I had a question or a concern and needed to jump on a video call or something like that to go over a task again to make sure that I had the steps down correctly and again could do my job the most efficiently I could do it. Um, they've been so understanding and so patient with me to help me to be the best person I can be in my job.
wow, that's so awesome. All right, Sierra. Well, I will let you get back to work. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and happy Hydrocephalus Awareness Month and World Hydrocephalus Day.
Yes, thank you so much, Margie, for having me on your podcast. I'm so grateful that we had the opportunity to talk and become friends. I can't wait to keep up with you in the future. And happy Hydrocephalus Awareness Month and World Hydrocephalus Awareness Day.
Thank you, Sierra. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And just remember, you're more than able.